I want to thank everyone for participating in this town hall, no matter where you stand on this issue. I'd also like to acknowledge our staff who has been working on this tirelessly to make sure that this town hall runs smoothly. Harley Hoff, who will be taking in the calls, has just been working so hard on this, as well as Michael Montgomery. And of course, as always, my assistant, Jesse Summers. Council members will be on the call. I will start as people start to come in. I want to make sure that you all mute and take the camera off as you've entered into this town hall. And President Richard Scorman will make a few comments before we start the town hall. So this town hall is to actually hear from you, for you to weigh in. This is what we're looking to do, is to make sure that we put this on the ballot. So right now, it's not the city council creating an ordinance to do this. We want you, the citizens, to be able to have the opportunity, whether you're for this initiative or not, to have that opportunity to vote and weigh in on this very nominal plastic bag fee. So I'll just let you know that I was contacted over a year and a half ago by several citizens throughout the city. And they were saying, we really need to take care of our environment. There's a lot of trash around. Plastics are really bad for us. Yolanda, will you please take this forward? So I started to research it and look into it. And at one point, as I don't know if you all know, but there's a state ban on banning plastics. So during this legislative session, there was a bill to get rid of that ban and to actually ban single-use plastic. And with COVID coming onto the scene, that was all taken off. That was all tabled for the moment because it came with a fiscal tag. So I decided to take it on. So some of the questions that are happening, so I want to make clear, this is to have council get enough votes from council to put this on the ballot so that you the citizens can vote on this. Why now? It's past time. There are many other cities in this state as well as in different states that this is happening. There are bans going on and fees going on. It's time to use reusable bags to take care of our environment. I think a lot of you will be commenting. We use a plastic bag for 12 minutes or less. It takes 500 years to decompose. And even with the complete decomposition of these bags, they still end up in our waterways and in our landfills, which ultimately end up in our food. I'm bringing this forward also is not just environmental, but we just have a small window because pretty soon, this is coming down the pipeline, folks. This is coming down the pipeline where eventually there will be a ban on plastic, but this gives us an opportunity to do this behavioral change in getting used to using reusable bags. Now, I heard a lot of you comment and say, well, in a time of COVID, we're not allowed to take our reusable bags. What they're doing, most stores are doing right now, is they're asking you to bag your own groceries. But we are going to have this start in July of 2021. It'll be a whole year from now, and things will look a lot different. And for the most part, COVID should be on its way out. So it is time. And another thing is that I have received hundreds of emails during the time I've been on council, and especially in the last 6 months, about the trash all over the city. There's trash everywhere. The streams, the trails, the walkways, our streets, in our yards, bags caught in trees, in bushes, everywhere you can imagine. And here we are Olympic City, USA. And I have gotten emails saying that from from community members saying, it is embarrassing when my friends and family come from other states as tourists to bring them through the city because of all the trash. And right now we don't have a mechanism or a plan to picking up all that trash. We rely on volunteers, but there's simply too much trash throughout the whole city to pick up. So in this small window, we have an opportunity to create a fund through the plastic bag fee to pick up the trash, clean it up, and make our scenery, our ground and our trees and our streams as pristine and as beautiful, majestic as the mountains and all the scenery that surrounds us. We will take some questions later, but I'd like to right now give this, have President Richard Scorman speak. And just a reminder that you all mute your devices and off camera until you are asked to speak. And that'll be very soon here. Thank you all for attending. And Richard, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, let me just say a few words. As far as I can see, everybody from City Council is on this call, except I don't see Wayne Williams. I don't know if Wayne is here or not, but all other, the 8 of us are here. And we're really just here to listen. And what we've been really accomplishing a lot lately as a City Council is to be that place where people can express their concerns. And we've done it around the mask issue. We've done it around the law enforcement issue and civil rights. We've been doing it also around the recreational marijuana issue. And so here's another example of what we want to accomplish as a City Council. I think I can speak for all of us, is that we want to hear from the public. I do support this. I think it's great to be able to have the conversation as a community about how we use and overuse single-use plastic bags or single-use plastic or other things that we don't recycle or have as a way to figure out how to be responsible. And by doing this, we will be having that discussion at the supermarkets, where almost everybody in the community goes to. It's not a complete ban. It's not something that has to be paid for if people are willing to bring their own. And I think it's a good community discussion. So I applaud Councilmember Avila for bringing this forward. I think it took some courage on her part, and there is some people that are very strongly opinionated on both sides. But I am looking forward to tonight to hearing from the community. And what she is asking, and what I am too as a supporter, is just let's put this on the ballot and have a bigger discussion throughout the whole community as people decide whether to vote for it or not. We hope that they will have discussions about this at the kitchen table. Whether it passes or not, I think that's a very important goal in all this. And we can talk about how we all are contributors to waste and what we can do, each of us, as individual citizens. I don't know if Carly wants to explain, Yolanda, briefly what's being proposed, the exact details, but I was going to see if we could make sure that that's framed before people start to comment.
I'll let Yolanda do that.
Yolanda, would you like to do that? Go ahead, please do.
Wait.
So you're proposing a 10-cent fee, and you're also proposing a certain portion of it goes to back to the supermarket, and a portion goes to clean up in the community. But I thought maybe you should spell it out in a little more detail.
Okay, Richard. I would like Carly to read it out, because there's more detail in there that, and it is true.
So I actually don't have the directs in front of me, but I did send this out to everyone in attendance, the draft ordinance and resolution that's being considered. So what will come before council at the August 11th meeting is the ballot question that you saw, which would ask council to place this on the ballot. It would be 60 cents to the city and 40 to the store to retain. And any of that revenue would be used primarily for citywide trash cleanup events throughout the city and recycling programs. So that is the main pieces of what will be happening if this fee were to move forward out of council and then show up on the ballot in November 2020.
And it's predicted to raise how much money, Carly? What did Sheree McDaniels, our chief financial officer, express?
It's around 1.2 million is the estimate, and that's a conservative estimate.
Okay, so that would be a substantial amount of money for cleanups around neighborhoods in the city. Okay, thank you.
And if someone could please mute themselves. Currently we hear some background noise, so please mute yourself if you're on your phone.
Okay.
I did want to mention that with the 4 cents to the stores for their administration costs and the 6 cents to us for administration costs as well as implementing programs for the cleanup and educational programs and finding also paying for to help out with people that may be lower income or lower means, but it'll be for everyone to be able to just receive plastic, reusable bags free, so that it's all inclusive. But I just wanted to mention too that sometimes I've heard that, well, I see a lot of other trash, but not so much plastic bags, and I just want to make sure that even though this fee is off of the plastic bag, it includes the pickup and cleanup of all trash, no matter what it is. So I think we can get started, and so people can start weighing in, Carly.
Okay, the first speaker I have is Wendy Martin.
Hi, this is Wendy Martin. I'm calling in on behalf of my 501c4 organization, which is named Tiny Tote. And Tiny Tote is an organization that has the aim of reducing plastic bag waste in all forms. We are really a grassroots organization. The reason that I'm calling in today, I am active duty Army, and I was so excited to come to Fort Carson specifically because it is really the most beautiful and one of the most coveted places that you can be stationed. But once I got here, I realized that our landscape was really just ragged with all this plastic, especially plastic bags, because of all the winds that we have here that I just wasn't used to. And something that I'd like to touch on, just based on my own experience, which doesn't apply to necessarily everyone. However, the reason it really pushed me over the edge to actually start my organization was I'm a pilot, and it's actually a safety hazard for us to have plastic bags. We've actually had to cancel multiple flights just since I've been here at Fort Carson because we have sucked plastic bags into the rotor head of our aircraft because I'm a helicopter pilot. So that's one angle that I know it does not apply to too many people, but it really did affect us. It had to stop our training multiple times, and that's the reason that I chose to start my organization. In the community, we have had an awesome response to the things that we are doing, such as just giving away free tote bags, raising awareness of what people can do to reduce their single-use plastic waste, and just generally trying to remind people that bringing a tote bag for themselves is a great thing to do. So for my organization of Tiny Tote, that's my 2 cents, and I just want to get on this call and let everybody know that the public has really been appreciative of the things that my organization is doing, and would also like to touch on the safety aspect a little bit of things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wendy.
All right, the next speaker I have is Natasha Long.
Hi, my name's Natasha. I'm a student at Colorado College. I'm going into my 3rd year this semester. And I'd kind of like to speak on behalf of the students at CC, because I'm not sure if anyone else is on this call. Basically, what I know about how Colorado College manages the cleanups in the creek is that every year they put in a lot of money to clean up Monument Creek in the areas that the school touches, basically. And they try really hard to shield the students from how much trash really is in the community. And this cleanup process also involves a lot of removal of homeless people, removal, trash and everything else. I just wanted to say, although our school tries to shield its students from the lack of support Colorado Springs has for its citizens, I'm here to say that we do care, and we do care about this plastic fee. We do care about how the city is and the well-being of its citizens. I'd also like to say, although the waterways, and this is the part that I care about, although the waterways, they're all throughout the city are full of litter. The plastic is aggregating in southeast Colorado Springs, which does have high population of minorities and is under-resourced. So this isn't just a case of Olympic City looking ugly. This is a case of environmental racism. I don't know how much City Council cares about that. So I will say, to the point at which they do care for is money and for tourism and for new people coming to live in the city. Just think about the opportunity of having a beautiful, nice, clean city, what that could do for your tourism, for the taxes you get off of hotels, for younger people moving in. Just look at other cities that have put on a plastic fee or plastic ban. Yeah, set up the infrastructure that'll make people want to move to the Springs and stay and spend money. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha.
Next, I have Bruce Hamilton.
Yes, am I muted or unmuted? Can you
You're
hear me?
unmuted. We can hear you.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. Thank you. I don't know to what extent this can be a dialogue, but I'm curious, what are the compelling arguments of people who are against this proposal? Are you allowed to say that, or is it just, am I the only one that speaks during this process?
Yolanda, we can't hear you currently.
Oh, you can't hear me?
We can hear you, sir. Councilmember Avila, she seems to be muted at the moment.
Bruce, you may want to talk about your experience. There will be other opponents of this that will express their reasons.
Okay. Well, maybe this will preempt some of that. Probably one of the concerns is this is a burden for low-income people to buy reusable bags, and to me we have a full year before this goes into effect, where we can stockpile our plastic bags at our stores. We come home and we save that bag. We keep doing that. At the end of the year, we're going to have hundreds of bags.
Hi, someone's just joined the call and needs to mute themselves. And then Bruce, could you unmute yourself? *6.
I'm sorry.
There you are, Bruce. Thank you.
I don't know for how long I was muted.
Just the last minute.
The last minute.
You talked about you have the ability to reuse the bags and collect them all year.
Yeah. Okay, so you got the gist of that. Yes. Thank you. So I'm totally for this. This proposition is great. And to me, the thing that's worse actually than the trash and the litter and all that's important is the overall global impact. I've heard that even when this plastic breaks down, there's microparticles that essentially never degrade. And that's never is more than 500 years. Not to mention that in those 500 years, fish and everything else are eating those particles. And they're in our bloodstream. There's a percentage of plastic in all of us right now. So I'm very concerned about that aspect of it, even more than the trash and litter. I'm finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce.
You're welcome.
And then next we have Stephen Bacon. Stephen Bacon.
not on the call.
Okay. Christine Thomas.
Hi. I really appreciate a lot of the contributions that people had, and they've had some really good things to say so far. And I thank the council for listening to this very important issue. As Yolanda said, there's legislation that's working diligently right now, and the plastic bag is going away throughout our entire state. 8 states have already banned the bag: California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, New York, Oregon, and Vermont. Our fair city has a limited window to raise these funds to help clean up this once very beautiful city. Other cities in Colorado who have implemented these bag fees are Aspen, Avon, Basalt, Boulder City, Breckenridge, Carbondale, Crested Butte, Denver, Durango, Frisco, Gunnison Valley, Mountain Village, Nederland, Ridgeway, Roaring Fork Valley, Steamboat Springs, Telluride, Vail, and Winter Park. It's time for us to take some action on this. We're behind the curve on this, and this could make a really big difference in our community. And we currently have litter laws that are not being enforced, so we can no longer collect those fees to help us clean up what this mess has become. When Chicago implemented a bag fee, they saw a 50% reduction in their plastic bag pollution. In San Jose saw an 89% reduction in bag pollution in storm drains, a 60% reduction in rivers and streams, and a 62% reduction in roadside trash. New York City found a 75% reduction in plastic bag pollution in rivers after a 5-cent bag fee was implemented. Bag fees work. They're a great source of revenue to help us clean up this terrible trash situation. It's a great tool. And I know that there's a lot of challenges in our world right now, but this is actually a problem that we can actually do something about. We can do this together. I think that's a very important piece to take away from this. This is not a political issue. This is a public health issue. So I thank you for that time, and I wish you more good work. Thank you again, Yolanda.
Thank you, Christine.
Next we have Allie Schuch. Looks like you're here, Allie. You are muted currently.
Hear me now.
Very echoey. I'm not sure if someone, if you have their screen on or if someone's unmuted.
Well, she was said it twice, so she's pretty good now.
Okay. I think if you want to try again, Allie. Allie, if you want to try again.
Hello?
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, members of council and meeting attendees. Thank you all for listening to our concerns this evening. My name is Allison Shook, and I'm a resident of the Springs for over 20 years. I currently live in District 3 on the west side. My profession is around watershed health and protecting our precious waterways. As the founder and director of the Creek Week Cleanup, the state's largest watershed-wide cleanup effort, I have seen how our community comes together each fall in the name of trash removal. I have heard from citizens firsthand that once they are out there to do the work, they are appalled at what they find. And our numbers are staggering. Over the past 6 years, thousands of volunteers have removed 100 tons of trash from our parks, trails, waterways, and open spaces. This is a huge contribution. I'm very grateful to those volunteers, but sadly, we can't keep up. You all can see it. Our understaffed parks department, nonprofits such as Keep Colorado Springs Beautiful, and the thousands of people volunteering their time during Creek Week or with an Adopt a Waterway group cannot keep up with the unsightly litter. I won't go into the impacts of plastic bags on our environment, our water, our wildlife, our bodies, or our scenery. Everyone can agree that it's ugly and takes away from the natural beauty that draws so many of us here. The bottom line in the bigger picture as I see it is that dollars generated by this fee would directly support environmental mitigation and cleanups, something we desperately need. It will boost environmental programs and provide free reusable bags. It will protect our environment, support quality of life, it will prevent trash from being carried downstream to other communities and ultimately the oceans. We have a huge problem with trash, and this fee could go a long way in keeping Colorado Springs clean and safe. And in fact, we have an obligation as a headwater state to the 200 plus communities downstream from us to keep our waters clean and free of pollutants. This is our opportunity, everyone, to take a step closer to being a truly Olympic city for our visitors and residents alike, to lead by example. We all deserve a beautiful city that is properly maintained and not overwhelmed with trash. Other cities have done it. In fact, 15 Colorado communities have implemented bans or fees on bags and have had great success, as Christine mentioned. Let the citizens decide if this fee is right for us. The benefits of this program are far-reaching and have the potential to positively impact our famed natural environment and help our citizens develop more sustainable behaviors. How can you argue with that? I urge you, Council, to let the citizens use their voices this fall at the voting booth or the mailbox. Thank you for your time and your consideration of this important issue.
Thank you, Allison.
Stephen Burrell. All right. Rose Ann Ost. You may need to press *6 if you're on the phone to unmute. Jim Egbert.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you.
I did a little number work here. We have about 500,000 residents in Colorado Springs, and shoppers come from outside of Colorado Springs, from the county and neighboring communities. So if you assume we have 700,000 people, to produce $1.2 million at 10 cents a bag, that says we're going to have 12 million bags paid for, which means on average, each of those 700,000 people would have to essentially buy 17 bags. Now, are these bags just for grocery stores? Or does it come, these bags are at hardware stores? Are they also at clothing stores? I don't know the answer to that, but that'll have to be figured out. And what we really need to do is, if we are an organization that is proposing a new product, and that's what we're doing, is proposing a new product, we need to be able to explain in a very succinct way why it's going to be of benefit to the people who we want to buy it. So we're going to be asking people to pay us $1.2 million, and why should they do that? And that's the story that needs to get put together and to be able to be articulated in a very short amount of time. What I've heard so far is that a lot of people don't like single-use bags, and there's lots of reasons for that. And a lot of people think that there's too much stuff and debris and trash and everything in the city. And I understand that. Will $1.2 million fix the trash? In other words, if people agree to this, what can they expect to see done, and how fast can they expect to see it happen? Those are issues that you have to be able to deal with. So far, I haven't heard answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. They will be coming from the fee will be coming from all retail stores, including liquor stores, hardware stores. So it'll be from a lot of different stores, and we do have the calculations, and we will get that to you on how that money is going to be produced based on 70% compliance, and how that would be distributed into ending up in crews for the cleanup.
Okay, that would be helpful.
Thank you. And to those who just joined us, if you could please mute yourself and turn off your camera. Thank you. Next on the list is Laz Bordias.
Yes, thank you, Carly. And Yolanda, thank you for taking this on and pushing this initiative forward. I would advocate for a complete ban on plastic bags. As you are well aware, the damage caused to our environment by plastic bags is quite significant. As you have stated in the proposed ordinance, despite recycling and voluntary solutions to control pollution from single-use plastic bags, many single-use plastic bags ultimately are disposed of in landfills, litter the environment, block stormwater and drainage infrastructure, and endanger wildlife. If the idea is to decrease the use of plastic bags, and you don't believe a complete ban could be implemented, then perhaps you should consider changing the proposed resolution to raise the fee to 25 cents instead of the proposed 10 cents, so that the impact of using a plastic bag could have more of a financial impact on individuals, and we would perhaps think twice before using plastic bags. Finally, I was curious as to what kind of feedback you may be getting from the retailers who would be collecting this fee. Thank you.
Thank you, Laz, for that. I don't know if you caught my earlier comment in that right now there is a ban on banning plastic bags and single-use plastic. So that's why we're going for the fee.
Great, thank you. No, I hadn't heard that. Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Leah Dolan Kelly.
Hi, this is Leah.
Hi.
Hi. So I am all for this proposed fee. Colorado Springs prides itself on outdoor culture, and part of that is environmental responsibility and sustainability. A lot of what we've already heard. And I do think we have a culture of overuse of plastic bags, and we're far behind other cities and states in this regard. And we want to be greener and cleaner. And I think this is one of the ways to continue to meet that goal. I ride my bike a lot on the Greenway Trail, and I see bags littered up and down the Greenway Trail, and it's disgusting. The amount of plastic floating around our city, the amount of trash floating around our city. So I'm all for a fee, and the cleanup initiative I think is a fantastic way to use that fee. And personally, our household has been using reusable bags for years. And in the last 2 years, we've purchased reusable produce bags, which I'd love to see more of those. And I think once you start changing your habits and learning about greener practices and products and the education that our city is going to do for this, it starts trickling down to other aspects of your life. So, it starts with plastic bags, and then it goes down from there, and, not using as many paper towels, and the list goes on. And thank you for taking into consideration people on financial assistance and waiving the fee for them. I think that is a great idea, and I think that'll help a lot. And like I said, I'm in support of using the proceeds to give back to our parks and community for cleanup and educational initiatives. Change can be difficult for some, but I believe this is the right change to make for our city's culture, values, and environment. And I just want to say thank you for all of your work on this initiative and proposing it for the 2020 ballot.
Thank you, Leah.
AJ Vega. AJ Vega. All right. Lauren Barnes.
Hi, yeah, I'm with Clardio. My questions, some of which have already been touched on. Councilor Avila, in the introduction, I think you kind of talked about this a little bit, but if you could just go back over it. Some questions from our newsroom today. People were asking about major grocery chains who have discouraged people from bringing in reusable bags right now because of concerns over the coronavirus. And I believe you had said, by the time this is implemented, it would be a whole year from now. But if you could maybe touch on that again, that would be great.
That's true. And what I'm finding is like the major change, like King Soopers, etc. What they're asking people to do is now bag their own groceries if they're using reusable bags. And I think when you think about it, they're saying that, not they are saying, but there are people and organizations saying that the bags could bring in more COVID virus. And that would be insane, because are they going to ask us not to use our coats and jackets that we use during wintertime to go in? I mean, it's really a false argument. So, and again, COVID will be pretty much on its way out. But this is a dialogue this is a forum for people to be able to express themselves, and not so much as a dialogue. I do hope to answer questions, but I want to make sure that everyone out there on this at this town hall get that opportunity to express themselves. Thank you for the question, Lauren.
All right, Judith Rice Jones. And if you are on the phone, you may need to press *6 to unmute. That's Judith Rice Jones.
Okay, I'm here. Got me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm a 40-year resident of Colorado Springs, and the evidence of the growing spread of plastic is everywhere. The dangers it presents to aquatic and other life, and the fact that it's now in our food, the food that we ingest, in addition to the general ugliness, make it a very easy decision to support Councilwoman Avila's proposal. My daughter and her family live in California, where there's been a ban in place for almost 10 years. Everyone there has adapted. If you go in a store, the customers have the option to bring their own bags, which most do, or pay 10 cents for a paper bag. It's kind of like the way of life now. This is now the 21st century, and it's well past time for us to be responsible citizens in our own community. In anticipating our 150th anniversary next year, and the reason for Palmer's choice of this particular place to build a city, we need to remember how incredibly privileged we are to live with our view of the peak and the Rockies. This privilege also entails some responsibility in caring for the natural beauty and the sunshine that we enjoy. So I'm hoping that all of the citizens, and certainly our own city council, will do the right thing and support Councilmember Avila's ballot proposal. Such a move in support of our health and our natural environment is long overdue. So thank you very much, Yolanda, and I hope I can say thank you to all of my council members as well for supporting this initiative.
Thank you, Judith.
Thank you. Julie Ott.
Thank you. So I wanted to thank council members first for the opportunity to have this town hall and to allow us to speak this evening. I'm sure many of you noticed today was a windy day, and as I was thinking about my comments, it occurred to me to comment on that because we can really appreciate the need to reduce plastic bags in our environment today. I had to drive downtown, and I was amazed in general, once I was paying attention, how much trash there really is in this city. Plastic bags and other disposables are littering our streets. They're caught in storm drains, on medians and along the roads, and in our yards. On that note, I have to admit that it's convenient to find a spare trash bag in my yard every couple of weeks. It's blowing there, and I can use it to pick up trash that's also arrived by the wind. But I would prefer not to have to pick up trash bags in my yard. The fee would make plastic bags more precious, if you will. And I think we begin to treat bags and other disposables, for that matter, if they cost something. And short of a ban, I think that will support waste reduction and the cleanup of our city streets. So as has been noted, this has worked elsewhere. It's an environmental issue and a public health issue, a water quality issue. And I'd like to vote on the plastic bag fee in November, and I hope that the City Council will support the question being on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Joan Huntley. Joan Huntley.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I knew you have to leave soon, so I'm going to call on you quickly.
Yes. So basically, I endorse the proposal because, as other people have said, the bags are bad for the environment, for our health, they're unsightly. I'd like to reiterate what the councilwoman said, that there is support for people with limited income to obtain reusable bags. I used to teach in India, which is one of the poorest countries in the whole world. And 8 years ago, they instituted a fee for not bringing a bag. And what you got for the fee, you had to pay a fee, but you got a reusable bag. So not only were the single-use bags not used, then the person who didn't have a bag got a reusable bag. And we have a year to ramp up. So I just want to say thank you for holding this. I do have to go, and I'm sorry, but thank you.
Joan, thank you for participating.
Amy Gray.
I'm here. Hello. My name is Amy, and I'm the volunteer and Jedi director at 350 Colorado, and the team leader of 350 Colorado Springs. And I know coming to these meetings, when council's looking for answers and things, something I haven't heard anyone touch on is that plastic bag recycling laws generally refer to state laws that require grocery stores to provide like a plastic bag recycling collection bin in a public space in a store, which we do have here, but goes largely unused by the general population. And a lot of times I know you guys think on economic and, along money lines and things like that, like what's best for us. So I wanted to bring up that we also know that recycling these bags isn't really the answer, as recycling is a commodities market, and some materials are more valuable than others, and dirty plastic bags don't have a market. What we need to enact is a fee for these bags, and encourage, the equity practices that Councilwoman Avila has been talking about, on making sure that this is a just and equitable initiative, and that everyone has access to bags, making sure that it's fair for all the residents of the Pikes Peak region, I think is wonderful. I would also like to address that I've heard some of the concerns being that there's going to be too many things on the ballot, and that, there's recreational MMJ on the ballot. And I know Councilwoman Gabler, that was one of your concerns, and I just wanted to address that and say that one of the same people that are going to come out and vote for the recreational MMJ are going to be the same group of people that are coming out to vote for this as well. So I don't think that it would pack the ballot, and I would really just advise council to, this is a democracy, and the cornerstone of our democracy is voting. So I think that the Pikes Peak region, like the residents here in the Springs, we should get to vote on it. And if we lose, we lose. But if we win, the aspects of how much this will benefit our entire region and our community are beyond compare. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy. And just for the record, RMJ won't be on the ballot this November.
Lame. Well, then let's do this one.
Thank you. And so anyone who just joined us, if you could please make sure you're muted during this until you're called on. Ian Thomas.
Hi there. First off, I'd just like to thank City Council for holding this via Microsoft Teams. So I am 21 years old. I am an actively voted constituent in the district of Dawn Knight. So what I'd like to say is I am in strong strong favor of this proposition going to the ballot this coming November. When it comes to the social, economic, and environmental impact of having such an insane amount of trash, plastic bags, I've been living in this town for 21 years, and I've never seen more trash than I do today. So socially, there are low-income groups that will be or can be affected by a 10-cent fee. However, since money is flowing back into the community by way of cleanup efforts, that increases the quality of areas, that also provides usable bags to at-risk communities. So when it comes to the social and economic aspects, I think it's really important to look at the whole picture and to really consider how this bag fee is not it's not just a direct fee, but it's also a way to increase quality of life. It's a way to increase health. It's a way to increase tourism draw. I currently go to school at Colorado Mesa in Grand Junction. And when I tell people I'm from Colorado Springs, one of the things that inevitably comes up is trash. Colorado Springs is getting a reputation for being a city that's becoming overrun with trash. And if we're trying to push an image of Olympic City, USA, Trash City, USA is not what we need. So I highly encourage all of our city council members to support this, let the citizens vote on it, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ian.
Mary Montoya.
Yes, this is Mary. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I've lived in Colorado Springs over 35 years, and I use reusable bags, and I'm also very concerned about the environment. But I am concerned about the low-income folks who aren't at the poverty level receiving the exemption for the use of the bags. And I have heard several people refer to the reusable bags being available free to people. I'm wondering if there's going to be educational awareness for that to this population. I believe it was, the Denver Post, December 11th of 2018, said that 2/3 of Colorado households are still having financial difficulties just meeting their basic needs. So that's a lot of people. I'm not sure how many are in Colorado Springs, but I would just like to emphasize how important it is to look at the lower income people who may have more difficulty getting used to this, and how to help raise their awareness about practices that would help them ease into this better. So yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mary. And I want you to know that lower income people and those populations are more impacted by the pollution of plastic bags and other pollutions in terms of health and safety and their welfare. And so, yes, there is an education piece to this. There's also providing the reusable bags. There's an education piece to it and the trash cleanup. But thank you for being on this call.
And Yolanda, I also just wanted to comment that this actually, anybody who's on a government assistance program currently will not be subject to the fee. The next speaker we have is Larry Vermouth. Larry Vermouth. You may need to star 6. Okay. Derek W. Derek W. Rosemary Little.
Rosemary Lido. Thank you so much, Council, for holding this town hall. Thank you, Councilwoman Avila. We really appreciate you and your work. I am in favor of cleaning up the city beautiful. We call it that. We know that it has many problems that keeps it from being entirely beautiful. One of them is the litter and environmental litter that plagued the city and has for a long time. I've been a resident for 25 years in Colorado Springs, and I think for that long it has been an issue. I too am concerned about the impact of a plastic bag fee on economically challenged communities, especially in this time of COVID-19, and on communities of color, quite frankly. We know that many of them exist in food deserts. Many communities exist in food deserts where there are no viable or few viable grocery, especially, choices. And people are many times walking with groceries. One of the NAACP's suggestions in plastic bag fees around the country has been this issue of choice as we move forward with these ordinances and a vote of residents. Choice in plastic paper, having handles on bags, making things that are both manageable for people who face these challenges and also economically sound. I think those are important considerations. I think the considerations of distance from grocery stores and that impact of choice and how you get those groceries home is important. I think the COVID-19 environment, which doesn't appear to be gone anytime soon, no matter what we would think, those considerations are important because many of the people on the true front lines, if we tell the truth, are people of color. As I said, I favor the bag fee and would think that in our household we would vote in favor of such an ordinance. If that happens, if it passes, and I hope that it will, we will do what some others on this town hall have said, and that is do proper outreach, do proper education, do proper signage, and let people know who might not know. It's a privilege to be on these electronic town halls, just as it often is to be there in person. Many people won't know about this because perhaps they don't even have internet access. So I think maybe they don't have phone access. Putting this signage in places where people will see it will be important. I think we have an obligation to do complete due diligence around the ballot issue, as well as making this something that we can embrace, as you said, Councilwoman Avila, that we can embrace as good for people in communities of color, good for health and welfare, and good for our environment, good for our quality of life. Thank you so much for the opportunity to comment.
Thank you, Rosemary Lido.
Laura Martin.
Hello. Thank you so much for having this forum and allowing us this opportunity. I also want to thank the gentleman earlier that shared some of the numbers as well. That was really helpful. I am actually very much against this ordinance. I've lived in cities that did this. I lived in California. I've lived in other cities that did not, and other states that did not. One of the reasons that I chose Colorado Springs is because I felt that there wasn't a lot of government overreach and things like this. So that's definitely one of the reasons I'm against it. I also, I want to say that I'm very much for everybody's opinions about the environment. I love our environment. I care about it. I go out every single day for my walk, and I take one of my reusable bags and I pick up a full bag of trash every single time I go out. Someone else mentioned that a lot of the trash around the city is not in the plastic bags, it's in other things, which I agree. There's very few plastic bags that I see in my daily journeys, but what I do see is other trash. And we question, where does this other trash come from? Why is it that people feel like they can throw their trash everywhere? Like, where's the movement on that? Why do we feel like we need to charge people to do the right thing? There's been mention also about that lower income people are not going to be charged. I actually live on the southeast side where it is more low income, more minorities. And so our side's not going to be charged. And someone else also mentioned that the low income is the most impacted environmentally. So we don't have to pay anything, but we can still throw our trash over the ground as we do already. There's nothing that's compelling the low income people not to keep throwing their trash on the ground. Another thing is trash cans. I go to Memorial Park and there's like 4 trash cans in the entire park. I reached out to the Parks Department, said, I will fundraise, I will bring trash cans, I will dispose of them myself, and they declined the offer. So again, what's really the problem here? As the gentleman earlier mentioned about the cost. So even with 70% compliance, we need to have 7 million bags used to be able to pay for the cleanup. Why are we paying people to clean up? Someone posted on Nextdoor a challenge to pick up trash as they go out walking. And many people have done that and posted pictures and bragged about all the trash they picked up. Why are we not compelled to go and do this ourselves? Why does our city government need to do this for us? Also, my last comment here is with COVID. Last year, we never thought that we would be in this place we are today with COVID. Who knows where we're going to be next year? I mean, God forbid, not another disease comes up. So I'm worried about this being on the ballot, this passing, and now we've got other issues. Already people are going to be still in financial recovery next year, trying to recover from this year's COVID. So penalizing people to pay for this, I think is wrong. And if it is on the ballot, I will fight strongly against it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Laura.
Taylor Salisbury.
Hi, I go to Palmer. I'm 16. I'm going to be a junior next year, and I also am involved in climate strikes, which have been non-existent during coronavirus. That's sad, but okay. So last weekend, I was cleaning up trash in Fountain Creek by the highway, and there's evidence of camps. They looked better after we came through, yet it had rained the night before, and an abundance of washed up single-use plastic was showing. Out of all the trash that we cleaned up that day, I would say the majority was plastic bags. This is by a waterway. So see, it takes hundreds of years for plastic to degrade but never decompose. They can photodegrade or break down into smaller pieces, eventually leaching harmful chemicals into the waterways and leaving microplastic for wildlife to find. It is very important that we have this plastic fee on our ballot, so we can even see other cities, how they have dealt with this, and they have actually adopted similar plastic bag fee ordinances, like Boulder in 2012. At that time, the city of Boulder used 33 million plastic bags a year, and a lot of them ended up in the waterways and in our parks. Because of this fee, there was an immediate decrease in bag use by 70%, and it gathered almost $1 million in 5 years to be recirculated into providing reusable bags for the community, education, and funds for complying businesses. A similar effect has been seen in cities across the U.S., where in under a year, cities like San Jose saw a reduction in bag litter by more than 2/3 in rivers and a reduction by half in neighborhoods. The evidence is undeniable that we must have a plastic fee. It is the first step towards cleaning up our city and cleaning up our home. Yes, we have a ban on plastic, but that can be the next step. This is the first step. So imagine what Colorado Springs would look like if we followed in the footsteps of Boulder and San Jose. What our community and this is what my community and our generation wants. So to live in a city that matches our scenery, this is what our mayor wants as well. To preserve and protect the environment for future generations to come. We are heading in the right direction as a city by adopting Plan 17, and this is the next step, so thank you.
Thank you, Taylor.
Yeah.
Stephanie Vigil.
Hello, it's V Hill is the pronunciation, but
apologize.
That's okay. Everybody does it at least once. Thank you for giving us time to comment and for hosting this. I did want to circle back to some things that were mentioned before. There's a gentleman who came on earlier this evening, just anticipating the pushback that low-income individuals and families would take a big hit with this, and that maybe that's a good reason to just keep using all the single-use plastic. And I would just invite people who are tempted to rush to that defense that you should probably ask low-income individuals in neighborhoods what's really killing us before we start using 10-cent plastic bag fees like there's some sort of crushing financial burden. I've been incredibly poor myself. The vast majority of my life I've been disabled. I grew up poor. Even when I was at the point where I was rationing meals and rationing my medication to make it to the next paycheck, I can't imagine 10 to 20 cents for a bag or two being the thing that really sank me that week, that month. So I just want to invite people to think about the really big picture here, like as Yolanda has said and some others, low-income communities, especially communities of color, are taking the biggest hit for this excessive litter, and because it blows around. And we're not really able to just address this as an individual issue. I would love it if everybody just could decide that they're not going to take the free plastic bag every time they go to the store. But this is just kind of the curse of plastic for our species. It's very cheap to produce. It's very lightweight. It's very versatile. And we've got it in our heads that it just comes for free with whatever else we purchase, and then we quote unquote throw it away. And it always just ends up somewhere else. So since we're looking at a collective problem, we need some collective solutions. The lady who said earlier that there weren't enough trash cans in the park, I think you actually made a really great point there. We do need the government to do things about these collective problems. That's what we elect people to do. That's what we put things on the ballot for. And so I would just urge everyone to come together on this, get it on the ballot and pass it, and work together to get this plastic bag fee through. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Carly Moore. Okay. I'm going to go back through a couple names that I called earlier that didn't respond. Bruce Hamilton. Stephen Bacon. Rose Ann Ost. Derek W. And then Larry.
You mean Larry Fortness, I'm here.
Yes.
My turn?
Yes, your turn.
Okay. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but I've lived in Colorado Springs for 34 years, and I'm just tired of the fees. You know, I live up by Dublin and Powers, and I pay a special maintenance annual fee for Greenway water. I called the tax assessor about it, and they said they have a $350,000 water bill, even though we're in water restrictions. And not only is my house taxed, now I got to pay another annual fee for that. We pay, I mean, look at all the fees we have to pay now. I mean, I can understand the environmental impact concerns. I can understand the trash concerns. I've lived here for 34 years, and I've always picked up my trash. I've picked up my neighbor's trash. I don't know where it's all coming from, but I don't have single-use bags. Every bag that I take ends up being used again for either yard waste or other uses. I've always applied plastic bags to other uses, and I can understand the problem with the landfill. Evidently, eventually the landfill is going to fill up. But my point is, we pay license fees for our cars, we pay property taxes on our homes, and I'm frustrated about that because my home market value has actually doubled, but I haven't realized a gain. My home is my home, but yet my taxes go up on a value I haven't realized. So, you know, reusable bags, fine. I mean, a 10-cent fee, knowing the government, would go up to a 25-cent fee. Then it would be a 50-cent fee. Then it would be a $1 fee. And then we're actually paying people to go out and pick up trash that the residents shouldn't put there anyway. I mean, I drive around Colorado Springs too, and I observe the wind-blown trash, and I pick a lot of it up, but we have to have another fee so the government can pay people to go out and pick up trash. I think some of the people who've been sentenced to community service would be well used by just going out and picking up trash around town. So, yeah, let's put it on the ballot. Let's see what the citizens say. But I have no problems using reusable bags without paying a separate fee. And I appreciate the eloquent arguments that have been made for this. I think they've been very persuasive. But looking at all the other costs we pay, I just don't need another fee to use a reusable bag. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to comment. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Larry.
Steve Burrell. All right, that is all I have on my list. So I'm not sure, Yolanda, if you want to call for other public comment.
Carly, has everyone on your list spoken?
Yes, I've called everybody who was on my list.
So I'd like to thank everyone who's joined in on this town hall. All of your comments are valuable, and we are all listening to these, and we will be addressing further some of the questions that Larry brought up and others, but as well as the many reasons to make sure that this gets on the ballot. And what I'm getting is understanding is that people do want a choice to go on ahead, let's put it on the ballot, and they can decide either way which way they would like to vote for it. So Richard, do you have any more any comments to make, or any other council member would like to make a comment?
Well, just that we will have I promised Yolanda, and I think I have enough council members that want to put this on a formal agenda. It will be the next council meeting, which will be the meeting of Tuesday, a week from a couple days ago. I'm trying to remember the date now. I can't remember, but very soon. Yeah. And so we will have public comment then as well. But this is something that council will decide whether to place on the ballot, and we welcome everybody to give us more comments between now and then, and to come to council.
Thank you all, and we'll be closing out the town hall for now.
Yolanda, I supported you. Bill Murray. You're muted.
Let's get others to support this to get on the ballot, Bill.
Good job, Yolanda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks, Yolanda. This was wonderful.
Oh, thank you.